This is a special edition of NBC 25 News at 6.
And good evening, everyone. We begin our coverage tonight in Flint Township on Mentola Avenue, a residential community probably this morning called Lake Mentola Avenue. The entire area behind me was covered underwater. Now the water is beginning to succeed, and the residents here on Mentola, which is right near Corunna Road, a very busy M21, and to my east, to my left is 75, only about 2 miles that way. So we're on the western edge of Genesee County. Well, residents up and down this stretch of Genesee County struggling right now to put their lives back in order after an incredible 24-hour bout with Mother Nature. It was a period. The growling sound of a high-performance engine pedaled practically to the metal. A Blue Goose and its driver accepting the challenge of the State Police Precision Drive Track in Lansing. Well, it's a memory that the latest group of State Police recruits who graduated just last Friday will not soon forget. Exciting? Yes. But as I watched and documented for the past 19 weeks, that is where most agree the fun ends.
I've always wanted that badge on my chest, and the day I get it, it'll be a great experience.
Trooper Brian D. Savard.
October 19th, for Genesee County's Brian Savard, it is a moment he will treasure for the rest of his life, fulfilling a lifelong goal to become a state trooper.
Why do you want to be a trooper?
It was a tough decision. You know, the department I work for right now, Grand Blanc Township, is a very good department.
Why is it that you applied to the Michigan State Police?
I grew up looking at a state trooper. My dad's retired from the state police.
The class that's assembled before me, please stand. By virtue of the authority vested in me and by the laws of the state of Michigan, I hereby appoint you troopers of the Michigan Department of State Police. My congratulations.
But for Brian and his classmates of the 123rd Michigan State Police Recruit School, the 19 weeks it took to get to this life-changing moment seemed like an eternity. Recruit School Director Sergeant Candace Herr.
Each day is its own challenge, and just getting through the challenges of each class and each day is a goal for the recruits.
For Brian Savard, accepting the overwhelming challenge of State Police Recruit School was heightened by the fact he was already a 9-year veteran with the Grand Blanc Township Police Department.
He's subject as a 10-9 out of our department for larceny from a building.
Clear negative on bond.
Dad didn't talk you out of it, huh?
Dad did not talk me out of it, no. He did say, though, there'll be on some Sundays driving back to Lansing that you'll be wondering why you made this decision.
It would be a question Brian would repeatedly ask of himself for 19 weeks to come.
That you're there all week. You know you're going into a grinding week of 17 hours a day. You know you're going to be up at 5 in the morning, every morning. You know you're going to get yelled at. You're a recruit. When you're right, you're still wrong.
When you talk about the challenges of a recruit school, many people say it's like the military, college, and prison all rolled into one.
It's week 12 here at the training academy, and by most accounts, all the recruits, even the instructors, think this is probably the most fun. We're on the drive track.
Back to the center line. Nice.
Well, you actually got to experience it with me. The drive track was a lot of fun.
There you go. Shuffle. There you go. Squeeze gas. Staying out. Stay out. Roll in. Good.
You feel like a little kid, though. It's the little stuff you haven't experienced in a while. Every night when I go to bed, I'm glad I'm there. And then 7 hours later when I'm getting up at 5 in the morning, I'm like, oh man, why am I here?
But for Brian, that question is rhetorical because he knows and firmly believes the answer, the words of his father.
And he just said, tough it out. It's the best career you can make, and it's the best department you can work for, and he's living proof and just following his footsteps.
Down. Bill, first of all, tell me your reaction and what you've been able to determine from this whole police situation as far as the state police go.
Well, pretty much the way what Brittany has just described, the situation is a very serious one, and I want to underscore right off the bat here, Joel, that there is no such thing as a routine traffic stop. It's not in my vocabulary, having been associated with the state police for, well, all of my 35 years in broadcasting. Each traffic stop is taken very seriously because they are very dangerous, as was evidenced in this incident last night. The trooper, I'm hearing the injuries were quite severe in terms of where the exit and the entrance wound are, and put it mildly, I guess he's lucky to be alive. So that must go to the credit of the first responders of the emergency medical team and probably his partner.
Knowing you, you probably know more about this situation than that you're allowed to say on television, but I would imagine that the state police community is rallying around this officer right now and certainly hoping that he gets well soon.
Well, not only the Michigan State Police, because law enforcement in general is a huge family, and you're absolutely right. Not aware of if the trooper had any immediate family, but he has certainly extended family.
Thanks, Brittany. Well, one man's own history is defined by his time here on the USS Edson. His name is Mark Hogan, and he's from Philadelphia. Coincidentally, after the Edson was decommissioned, she found a permanent home in Philadelphia, and Mark Hogan would drive by her every day. But because of tight security, he could never come on board. But when we were in Philadelphia documenting the departure and the preparations for the Edson back here to Bay County, thanks to the U.S. Navy, we were able to get Mark on board for a very emotional, up-close and personal tour.
How does she look to you right now?
Well, she looks good, except for she needs some little tender loving care.
Gotta pull that close and throw the bolt.
It is an extremely rare opportunity setting foot on the deck of a decommissioned U.S. naval destroyer. The feelings, the emotions, almost beyond words. And for Mark Hogan, who served on the Edson in the mid-70s, actually being on board brings back a lot of memories.
I've seen a lot of miles on her. She helped me grow up, and I'm glad that she's going to be still around for a few more years.
As a civilian who's never been on board a naval vessel, especially one this size, it's hard, if not impossible, for me to imagine what it's like to be a member of the crew. But once on board, it only took but a few minutes to get an honest, lifelike perspective. Everywhere you turn here on the USS Edson, there is evidence of her 30 years of active military service. But here at the very top of this vessel is one that really stands out to me. Says it all.
One time over in Vietnam, she was considered one of the top guns. As a fire support, she kept banging them around 24/7. Basically used for gun support. The Marines were always glad to see her come by because they knew that things would be taken care of.
While the memories of the Edson's past will forever be in the minds and hearts of the legions of Navy personnel who served on her, the Edson is about to assume a new role, helping preserve Navy history by becoming a permanent floating interactive museum on the Saginaw River in Bangor Township.
Is there actually a belief that she has a spirit?
I would like to think that she does. And if there's no spirit per se, I think the spirit is the crew members and the people that have associated with her at one time or another. Being a crew member, shipyard workers, you name it, anybody had association, I think that would be her spirit.
And what a great experience for all of us, not just Mark Hogan, but Chief Photographer Mike Korn and myself. Right now, though, a special thank you to Mark for his parting gifts to us, some Philadelphia-made tasty cakes. His way of saying thanks to us for helping allow him to get on board the USS Edson. 4 years ago, I became a 1 in 8 statistic when I got a phone call informing me that I had been diagnosed. It is a phone call one never forgets. Just ask Willie Little.
And when he called, that was like when my sister called me and told me my father had got killed in an automobile accident.
It was a life-changing phone call for 63-year-old Willie Little LaFlint. He had just been told he had prostate cancer.
I was beyond scared. But Dr. Murphy told me right off the bat, don't worry. And I never will forget that.
At that moment, Willie was unwillingly initiated into a fraternity and a brotherhood, one that I too am a member of. Men who are diagnosed with prostate cancer. And apparently, Willie and I have a lot in common.
But Bill, I've been a stubborn person all my life.
A character trait that's said to be common in the male species, avoiding at any cost medical checkups.
See, if I'd had my PSA level checked, this never would have happened.
Willie Little and his family, still reeling from his cancer diagnosis, now have to learn, comprehend, and choose what treatment options were available to save his life. He chooses radiation.
Talk about your treatments. How are they going?
Excellent. Excellent. I trust my doctors like I trust my mechanic. You know, the treatments and people that's taking care of me, they got to be the best in the world, really.
And his doctors say he is getting better. Why? Because his brother said, get checked out. And he did.
He kept telling me, go get your PSA level checked, and I wouldn't.
But Willie did give in. He got checked out, was diagnosed, and underwent weeks of cancer-fighting treatment and care. How is he today?
Thank God I can feel myself getting better.
All because of the one basic and accepted major tool of fighting any cancer, early detection.
What's so special about prostate cancer is the cancer is silent at the early stages, and it is so common that many patients could be walking around with it and not knowing.
Well, as Dr. Gayar said, cancer of the prostate is silent in the early stages. Many men, just like me, experience no symptoms whatsoever. The key to survival is early detection through a simple test. And that's why NBC 25 is partnering with the McLaren Cancer Institute.